Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Cheyenne, Loving Warrior for Christ, and I just wanted to share a video with y'all. But before I share this video, I wanted to let y'all know that I do know that reptilians are real. I've seen them before. A long time ago, I used to work at this club, and they came in as a group of men, and I was curious about them for some reason because they seemed a little odd, and I watched them start shape-shifting in front of me, and I thought maybe that my eyes were playing tricks on me or somebody spiked my drink, because at that time I was living in the world, so I didn't know what to think when I saw this. I never forgot what I saw that day, but I need to explain something to y'all. I grew up from the age of 6 up until my adult years knowing about Jesus, and I went to a Christian school as a child and as a teenager, so I knew a lot about God, and I used to study a lot about the end time Bible prophecies when I was growing up as a child. I was very fascinated and drawn to it. I don't know why, but I was. And I remember my stepfather, because my dad had passed away when I was 6, he was very religious, and there was a difference between being a Christian and being religious, but he was very religious. And I had ran into a scripture in the Bible, and I was asking him questions about this certain scripture in the Bible, and it had to do with the end times. And his response was, "I don't know why you're studying end time Bible prophecies, because it's never going to happen in our lifetime." That's what he told me. And even though he had said that, I continued studying the end time Bible prophecies regardless. As I got older, I married a man that was not a Christian, and I fell away from all the things I studied about Jesus and just stopped being Christian. I started to live in the world and do worldly things, and that's when I started working at that club. But later in life, I changed my life again, and I became Christian again, and since then I haven't fell away from Jesus again. I've been with him this whole time. And when I turned my life back to Jesus again, I asked him, "Is there anything that you want me to know?" And he answered me, and he told me to read Genesis 6. And at that time I didn't know what Genesis 6 was about. I knew that Genesis was about the creation, but I didn't know what he was trying to show me. So I opened up the Bible and I started reading Genesis 6, and I noticed that it was about Noah and the flood. So I stopped reading and I told Jesus, "I know about this story, Lord. I already know about this." And he told me, "Continue reading." So I continued to read Genesis 6. Then I started noticing that there was something more to Genesis 6 than what I knew about. It was talking about giants. It was talking about fallen angels having babies that were different, the Nephilim. It started talking about stuff that I didn't even know that was in the Bible. Then I started to remember what I saw at that club, those men that were shape-shifting in front of me looking like reptilians. And then I realized what God was telling me. I continued on with my search, and I found that there's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that talk about giants. Goliath was a giant, and it even gives descriptions about these giants. If you read, it says they have 6 fingers on both their hands and 6 toes on both their feet. It even has a scripture that says that the men look like grasshoppers compared to these giants. There's even a description of a bed that this king was sleeping in that was humongous in the Bible. There's tribes of giants listed in the Bible. They even list some giants by names, like Goliath, for instance. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible that verifies that there was something strange going on, and that the fallen angels did come to earth. They had children that were hybrids, that were very different from human children. They were giants, and the Bible does tell us about it. And also the book of Enoch. And you don't even have to read the book of Enoch just to see the true facts that there was something going on with fallen angels mixing their DNA with humans and having Nephilim children. It's all in just our regular Bible without even reading the book of Enoch. Enoch is, very interesting if you read it, because it also verifies it too. But you don't have to read the book of Enoch to get the whole picture of what was going on. In Genesis 6, it even says there were giants before and after the flood. So they are still here. They are still doing that same thing that they were doing back then during Noah's days. And they're gotten probably better at it because they can mix better with the human race, that we can't see them or notice the Nephilim. But they are living with us right now. In fact, you could have people in your neighborhood that are Nephilim. They could be very different. I've seen them in person more than once. This one time I was walking around in the mall, and this man was selling insurance, and he was trying to convince us to buy the insurance, and I tried to walk past him. I didn't want any insurance at that time. And he called my husband at that time over to him to try to talk him into buying this insurance. And he said, let me hold your hand for a minute. And he put his hand in that man's hand, and he started doing like this fortune telling type thing. And of course my husband at that time just laughed it off. And then he said, let me see your hand. And I put my hand in his hand, and he held it for a few seconds and immediately dropped my hand and kind of backed off and stopped talking about insurance and went away from us. And I thought that was kind of odd that he acted that way, because I didn't say anything, but he didn't like holding my hand for some reason. But I noticed that while he was doing this, his eyes were changing, and maybe that's why he dropped my hand, because he probably noticed that I noticed that he was changing. I don't know, but I will never forget that day either. And then there was another time when we were trying to rent a house, and we were being shown the house, and the man that was showing the house, his eyes kept changing in front of me, and I couldn't help but notice. I kept staring at this man's eyes, and he looked like he was getting very angry because I was looking at him. He didn't look very friendly at all. And at the end of our tour of the house, he pretty much told us the house was no longer for rent. So he denied us to rent this house, which was okay, because I wouldn't want to rent from him anyhow. But it's just, I've seen them. Like I said, I've seen them before. If you pay attention, you can see them too, and they're out there. And you know how we have all these riots, like the Black Lives Matter riots, just any kind of riot you could possibly think of. The abortion riots, all this riots. These people that are doing these riots, I wouldn't be surprised if they are the children of Satan, the ones that are the reptilians that are doing all this. They are trying to change our world, to turn it into the new world order, and they're doing the best they can to get this ball rolling. And they have numbers. They have lots of reptilian children out there doing this terrible things, going into churches, killing people, causing race wars. And I just have a really strong feeling that that's what these people are. Because it's really, some of these people are getting paid also. There could be some real humans out there too doing all of this, but they get paid to riot. How many of you out there can just stop what you're doing and go spend months at a time rioting and not have any income coming in, and still be able to afford to pay your rent and pay your car payments and your utility bills and all that, and just spend all your time out rioting? There's not very many people that can do that. Because they would lose their car, they would lose their house, their utilities would get shut off, they wouldn't have food to eat or feed their family. You see, that's why these people are getting paid to do what they're doing. And some of these people out there, I feel, are the children of Satan. They're the reptilians out there that are purposely causing all of this conflict in the world to make change, to bring in the New World Order. Not only do these reptilian beings, live amongst us, they are trying to position themselves in powerful places, like in government positions, presidents, and just wherever they can have a big influence to change things. That's what they're doing. In the school systems, they're changing the schools to where the teacher nowadays can sit there and pretty much brainwash your kid into being confused on whether he's a boy or a girl. Introducing homosexual ideals, and all this perversion is coming to our schools because of these satanic Illuminati reptilian people that are out there. I mean, not all of them may be reptilians. There might be some that are just people following this evil race of beings, but I have a feeling that a lot of them are reptilians. The reptilians, the people that are reptilians, well, they're not really people, but hybrids, they have a very cold heart. They're what you call a psychopath. They're the ones who they have no empathy for other people. They just seem like a shell that has nothing inside, like an empty vessel. That's what they seem like. You know how the Bible says that we are all vessels? Well, these people are empty vessels. They have no love, compassion, or anything towards anyone else, but they can put on a good show. They're great actors and can act the part, but deep down inside there is no real feelings there. You know how us Christians, we ask the Holy Spirit to come into our lives, and we're guided by the Holy Spirit, and you can always tell another Christian who is being guided by the Holy Spirit because you feel a one with them, because you feel the same feeling, like the same spirit within you as in within them. Well, the same thing happens with the unbelievers, the people who are rejecting God, that are real humans, and the people who are reptilians. They all carry the same spirit, okay? And that's the spirit of the Antichrist spirit. And they all have they call it familiar spirits. They all have a very familiar spirits with each other. Here soon, all these evil people will become one-minded. I mean, they're getting real close right now to being that, where all of them are going to be all about this equality movement that's going on. And this equality movement includes taking children and making children feel like they have the same equal rights as an adult, and choosing whether they want to be a male or female child, and whether or not they want to have sexual relationships with adults or not. They're going to take this equality movement and make it bigger than what we see now. It's going to be like all these people are just all brainwashed to be one-minded. It's hard to explain this, but hopefully somebody out there can understand what I'm trying to say. But this is where we're going, and they all have that same spirit, all of them. This spirit is the spirit that's going to come against the Christians, and all of them are going to have the same thinking as to come against all Christians and destroy them and have them put to death. And it's happening. It's getting to that point right now in our lifetime that this evil spirit is going to come against us, against the Christians. We need to be prepared. We need to have the full armor of God on and be ready for battle, because it's about to happen. And that's why I'm making these videos, to expose these people, I'm trying to warn many people not to go to these FEMA camps because they're ran by these people, these evil, satanic, Illuminati, reptilian people. You know, they're going to try to force the New World Order on people, and they're going to try to force that mark of the beast on people. And some of these, there's some people out there that are confused, and they think that the mark of the beast is a Sunday law. I hate to, you know, hurt anyone's feelings out there because I'm not about that, but it's not a Sunday law. It's a actual, literal mark that will go on your hand or your forehead that will be used to buy and sell. And if you don't believe me, go look in the Strong's Concordance and research what the mark of the beast is, and it will tell you that it's a stamp. It will tell you it's a marking like you do a cow where you brand them. It will tell you that that's what it means. It does not mean Sunday law. And if you don't know what the Strong's Concordance is, I really think you should go and research that, and it'll help you to understand the Bible a lot better. And also, even if you think it's a Sunday law, what these people are saying is by obeying and going along with this Sunday law. Well, taking that mark of the beast stamp on your hand or your forehead is considered obeying them. So regardless, do not take any mark on your hand or your forehead, because you will be obeying that Sunday law that you're saying that you think the mark is by accepting that mark. So do not take the mark of the beast. And even when you're out there and you're trying to spread the gospel and you're trying to warn people about the mark of the beast and you're thinking that it's the Sunday law, you need to throw that in there. You need to put in there, do not take any stamp on your hand or your forehead. And if you want to, you can put in there about your little thought about the Sunday law. My thought about the Sunday law is that it's already been in place. Ever since I was a child until now, everyone goes to church on Sunday. You know, I don't understand how the Sunday law is going to make any difference when everybody's already been going to church on Sunday. There's only a few churches that go to church on Saturday. So, you know, I'm really not understanding their Sunday law ideals when it's been in place for years already. Sunday law has been in place for years. I mean, I don't know if it's a law, but I know that many churches have services on Sunday. Well, I hope this helps somebody out there, and I just wanted to share this with y'all, and I love you all, and God bless you.
Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England, and they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians, and they need the blood. The blood helps them maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood. And they have to terrorize them to get this to come out in the blood and be secreted in the blood. They are killed at that moment as they are staring into their eyes, and not only do they can't hold their shape when this happens. The human shape they cannot hold. They go back into reptilian shape as this is happening, because it's like an animalistic type of excitement. Oftentimes they will just rip into the victim and eviscerate them and start eating the flesh of this person too, and the fat from the intestinal area is highly valued, as they use it on their skin. And they drink the blood, and the blood is highly sought after, and it goes according also to rank within these creatures.
Why it's increased since the ages?
So there are changes going on in the earth. It seems they're not able to hold their shape like they once were able to, and people see them shapeshift more and more, and they need the blood to try and maintain it, to try and maintain their human form. I believe there's a time coming that because of what I've been told, when they are not going to bother having to hold that human shape as they had to before, and they want that time to come. It's then about 4,000 years ago, the reptilians arrived here and again began to take over. And they instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means at that point in time. Reptilian, that come from another dimension, they actually they materialize from out of another dimension and are present at rituals, and they are so powerful, and their presence is there's such an evilness about them, and they want out of this other dimension. Old ones are called out, and they are what Christianity would have called the demons.
Is this symbolism of the abyss anything to do with the fact that these reptilian demons of another dimension are somehow locked in a time-space prison, and they can't get out, and they can only get out when they're brought out in that way?
Yes, they want out of that dimension. They have been thrown into that dimension, and they can't leave that dimension. And that's actually what the abyss is about, is being in a different dimension. It's like something to do with the fourth dimension.
So take us through one of these rituals that you conducted at the highest level of this global brotherhood. What would happen?
And then they have these children that they're kidnapping and bringing in from other countries, and no one misses them because these are third world countries. And children they have the most energy, the purest energy, they're the highest form of sacrifice. They are used as actual blood sacrifices during these rituals because of, again, reptilians needing their blood. The blood will be gathered in a goblet, and it will be dispersed among the reptilians.
Are these rituals rare? I mean, how many are there that, say, go on a year? I mean, we talking hundreds or thousands?
There are things happening every month of the year.
What happens on the night of Halloween?
That night is about the worship and homage to Satan, the great deceiver Satan, on that night, on Halloween, at this church.
You've conducted them in Europe and the United States. Can we start with the United States?
Yes, I have seen at rituals, I have seen George Bush, I have seen Madeleine Albright, I have seen Henry Kissinger, I have seen Ronald Reagan, and I have also, by the way, seen his wife, Nancy Reagan. I have seen Hillary Clinton before I knew she was Hillary Clinton at the time. At these rituals, she is involved. The other people that I have named and I have seen shapeshift into reptilians. J. Rockefeller, and he shapeshifts. These people seem to all be connected to the Illuminati. Gerald Ford, I have seen shapeshift. Dr. Joseph Mengele, who took me around to these rituals a lot of the time was also shapeshifter. There are people in the European countries that I've seen shapeshift and be involved. The Queen there, I've seen Princess Margaret there, I've seen Charles there, and they shapeshift. I have seen Tony Blair there, and he shapeshifts. They all have their quirks as to how they act, even in their reptilian form. Someone who's been talking about around this subject, and it seems to be popular right now.
Who's that?
This man by the last name of Sitchin. I've seen at rituals, and he is a shapeshifter.
What do you remember about Zachariah Sitchin?
Zachariah Sitchin was someone in the rituals attending the rituals who was not a major player in as far as the rituals went, but was someone that others present did not make remarks at, or were very careful as to what they said around him. And he was talking about, he would be talking about doing away with people, persons that were in his way, or were putting out information that he didn't feel that he wanted put out. He is very much a disinformer, and that is his job, to disinform about what is going on with the Illuminati and with the reptilians.
He actually warned me off from investigating the reptilians, interestingly.
There are eggs. It's like a nest of eggs kept down in that part where it's warm. It's very warm down there into this entrance, and these eggs are kept down there incubating, and they are the reptiles' eggs.
What have you seen the royal family do? The Queen Mother, and the other people you've seen in the rituals. What have you seen them do?
I've seen all of them drink human blood and consume human flesh, and they have their own goblets in which they have blood, and these goblets are encrusted with jewels, and they also have their own daggers, and that the dagger goes into the goblet. Wear these robes, but they don't wear anything underneath the robes, because what is going to happen, what the rituals are all about, they're going to shapeshift, and they can't have anything on under the robes. And there are orgy kind of things that go on at the rituals also. And
involving the royal family of Britain?
Yes, involving the royal family of Britain, and the sacrifice and the eating of, consuming the sacrifice, and they are involved in that.
And you've seen them do that?
Yes, I have seen them do that.
People in Britain, listening to what you're saying, would obviously be staggered, I guess anywhere in the world, but what would stagger them mostly is, in Britain, the Queen Mother has an image of being the nation's grandmother. The nice old lady, and good old Queen Mum, what a lovely lady. What's your experience of the Queen Mother?
She is very cold in reality, and she is very cruel. She obviously, from what I see, enjoys consuming human flesh. It's sickening.
Do they go into a different state in terms of age and strength and all these other attributes when they actually shapeshift?
Yes, the human body that they choose to occupy or take when it was young, it ages, but when they take the reptilian form, these reptilians live hundreds of years. And so they have to have taken more than one human body to live in. A lot of them are much, much older, and I'm including the Queen Mother in this, older than people think that she is. She's been in more than one body, human form. And when the time comes, if it is time for her to go on, and it has been chosen that she still has, it's known that she still has life or years to go, again, she will be put into the body, the essence of her, and the reptilian form will go, or the essence of her will go into another body that is also has the ability to shapeshift into reptilian form.
One of the pure reptilian human bloodlines.
Yes.
What happens when, take the Queen Mother as an example, what happens when they shapeshift? I mean, what do you see?
You start to see changes happen, and they're happening so fast that it's almost, it's the closest thing that I've seen to it is what they're now doing with computer technology. It's just a literal transformation that happens very quickly, and they get taller and they get bigger, and they don't look at all as reptilians like they do as humans, and thus the wearing of the robes, because if they were in clothes, the clothes would be torn apart.
So let's take the Queen Mother on this subject as an example. We recognize her as a frail old lady. What does she look like when she shapeshifts at these rituals?
She has, she looks like, the nose portion gets very much longer, and it grows into kind of a snout kind of thing. She has little fangs, and incisors as teeth, and there's a tongue. They all seem to have this kind of tongue when they're at this level. The tongue has a lot of long, hairy or pointed projections coming out of it. It's very long. And they have these, they don't have hands or feet, they have these claws. And they have scales, and also scales that seem to kind of disappear into one another, but it's more pronounced on the back. There seem to be lumps or protrusions coming from the head. There seem to be some kind of growth appendages at where, on the back, and they seem folded, and not all of them have that. And there is a tail, and they a lot of times will keep the tail curled, and and I've seen her when she's very displeased with something, as I've seen other members like this. This tail is whipped around, very agitated, and they do, and she hisses.
What color are they?
Which one in particular?
Take the Queen Mother as an example.
She's kind of a beige color on the underside, and by the time you're going up around to the back and the tail and the top of the head and on top of the nose, snout, whatever, it's coming to a very, they're dark speckles or large speckles of dark browns. And the eyes, usually, they're large. They look like they're very round, and they look like they're coming out of their sockets, and very protruding, and usually the color ranges from a beige to a gold to a dark greenish gold, and then there's this dark slit up and down, a vertical slit, and and the eyes will look hooded, and when they look hooded, it's a very frightening thing, because it seems that when the eyes are hooded, they're about to do something.
What do you mean by hooded?
The lids come down, and it's almost, I guess it would be the same thing in a human as an expression of someone's got an idea.
And how tall are they when they shapeshift?
They're just about 7 feet tall. Some are a little shorter, or to a foot shorter. Some are a little bit taller than 7 feet.
What is it about the rituals that allow the shapeshifting to happen?
When the victims are starting to be sacrificed, it's the scent of the blood, and they start shape-shifting at that point in time, and they can hardly wait to get to the blood. It's like they're addicted to the blood, and then the consumption of human flesh that follows.
What have you seen the Queen or any of the royal family do in relation to that? Have you seen them sacrifice and consume human flesh?
There are certain times when they will actually do a sacrifice, or there will have been someone doing a sacrifice, and it's not happening fast enough for them. So they will step in and finish it themselves, because the sacrifice the ritual has to be gone through. It's sacrificially, ritualistically, it has to have been gone through, and they will step right in and just start tearing the throat out, and they're getting all this blood from the jugular vein at the same time, and that has happened when there are many there that are going to be sacrificed, and they just can't wait, and tearing into the contents of the abdomen and stomach of a victim afterwards.
Who have you seen do that?
I've seen the Queen Mother do that, and Prince Philip and Charles. I've seen Guy de Rothschild do this. It seems that I've seen it more among royalty, or so-called royalty, do this than people that are not titled. That they don't seem to. They seem like it feels like they don't dare, but they shapeshift nonetheless. But it's like the royals that step in and just start tearing away, as they can hardly wait.
How long can they hold the reptilian form in these occasions?
During the rituals, it's much easier for them to hold their reptilian form. They can stay in that form. What it is that they have a hard time holding their human form. And as long as they're around blood and the scent of blood, they can't hold human form.
Was there any way, when Diana was married to Charles, without attending a blood ritual, that she could have seen him or one of the others become a reptile?
They have a tendency when they're asleep to shapeshift, and they have to consciously hold their form, and when they're asleep, they have a tendency to not hold human form and to shapeshift into reptilian. That scent of blood would tend to cause a momentary shapeshift.
Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply in the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Chapter 13. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses by the commandment of the Lord sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. And these were the names of the tribe of Reuben: Shammua the son of Zakur; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat the son of Hori; of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh; of the tribe of Issachar, Igal the son of Joseph; of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshiah the son of Nun; of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti the son of Rephu; of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodi; of the tribe of Joseph, namely, of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi the son of Susi; of the tribe of Dan, Amiel the son of Gamali; of the tribe of Asher, Sethur the son of Michael; of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi the son of Vosai; of the tribe of Gad, Geuel the son of Micai. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshiah the son of Nun Jehoshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south, and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates, and of the figs. The place was called the brook Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes, which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and shewed them the fruit of the land. And they told him, and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled, and very great. And moreover we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were. Chapter 21. Then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord. And the Lord answered, It is for Saul, and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. And the king called the Gibeonites, and said unto them, Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites, and the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, What shall I do for you? And wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, What ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, The man that consumed us, and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coasts of Israel, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armoni, and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up from Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Mahalathite. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days in the beginning of barley harvest. And Rizpah the daughter of Aiah took sackcloth, and spread it for her upon the rock, from the beginning of harvest until water dropped upon them out of heaven, and suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David what Rizpah the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul, and the bones of Jonathan his son, from the men of Jabesh-Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul in Gilboa. And he brought up from thence the bones of Saul, and the bones of Jonathan his son. And they gathered the bones of them that were hanged. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son buried they in the country of Benjamin, in Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish his father. And they performed all that the king commanded, and after that God was entreated for the land. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel, and David went down, and his servants with him, and fought against the Philistines, and David waxed faint. And Ishbabenob, which was of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight, he being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah succored him, and smote the Philistine, and killed him. Then the men of David sware unto him, saying, Thou shalt not go more out with us to battle, that thou quench not the light of Israel. And it came to pass after this, that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Shibbekai the Hushathite slew Saph, which was of the sons of the giant. And there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanan the son of Jehoiargim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where was a man of great stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimeah, the brother of David, slew him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. Chapter 20. And it came to pass that after the year was expired, at the time that kings go out to battle, Joab led forth the power of the army, and wasted the country of the children of Ammon, and came and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried at Jerusalem. And Joab smote Rabbah, and destroyed it. And David took the crown of their king from off his head, and found it to weigh a talent of gold. And there were precious stones in it, and it was set upon David's head, and he brought also exceeding much spoil out of the city. And he brought out the people that were in it, and cut them with saws, and with harrows of iron, and with axes. Even so dealt David with all the cities of the children of Ammon, and David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass after this, that there arose war in Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Shibbekai the Hushathite slew Shippai, that was of the children of the giant, and they were subdued. And there was war again with the Philistines, and Elhanan the son of Jair slew Lamni the brother of Goliath the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. And yet again there was war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 24, 6 on each hand, and 6 on each foot, and he also was the son of the giant. But when he defied Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimeah, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. The Book of Job, chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God, and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Chapter 2. Again there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto him, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movedst me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord, and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God, and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place, Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off, and knew him not, they lifted up their voice, and wept, and they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great.